My name is Beth, and I'm back today to give you guys kind of like an update and reconnect with everyone and talk to everybody about what's going on with me and my channel. I kind of disappeared, and I thought I kind of owed everybody kind of a little bit of an explanation of where I've been and what's kind of going on with me. And yeah, so this is going to be kind of like a little bit of a chatty. Um, and I wanted to give people a little background. If you're new, welcome. I have been recording pretty much consistently since 2014. I recently took my videos and made them private, with the exception of I think like 20 videos. I recently had some things kind of going on with me personally that was affecting my decision making, and really just was affecting this decision. So to give you guys a little bit of background update, I still, first of all, I am still offering private readings. So if you'd like to book a reading, you can still book it through my website, oracledaphne.com. But there's been a lot of stuff. I don't know if those of you who've watched me for a long time know that I live in Washington State, and there's been a lot of stuff recently with my electric bill that happened, and with just trying to pay my bills and keeping up with inflation. Inflation here is really, really difficult. And for those of you who don't know, I have been trying to find a full-time job outside of doing my business for a year now. I was working in healthcare, and there was obviously changes with the state of emergency. There was a state of emergency that was put in place at that time, requiring all healthcare workers to get this. And so that made a huge change, and then the job I was supposed to get fell through. So basically for over a year I've been looking for something that doesn't require this, and I've been picking up work here and there and trying to piece together a living, up until recently, where my electric was past due, and they put what's called like a door tag on my door, and they charged additional $25 for my electric. And it kind of got me into this space of feeling like I was just never going to catch up, that I was just not going to be able to make it, that I had to choose between buying food and paying my electric bill, or my electric bill being cut off. And I felt like, I don't know, I think a little bit of overwhelm too with social media, and how it's just become this kind of monstrous space where, it's like this pulse, like people have to like post like incessantly all day in order for people to have any visibility. And I think that for me, it was challenging to not just to keep up, but to stay motivated to record when I felt that people weren't really viewing my stuff. I actually went back and I like reposted my November, I think 2015 horoscopes, and those got like 6,000 views, and everybody loved them. And my all my new stuff gets like 40 views, like 50 views. So it was just incredibly difficult to stay motivated. I do want to shout out to Dave Salmon. I don't know if he's watching or if he was going to watch back, but he recently donated to help out with my electric. Tracy Hicks, also want to shout out to you because you donated to help me out, and it has helped out a great deal. There's a couple other people that are in Australia And I wrote it down. I don't have it in front of me. You guys donated also. Thank you guys so much. Thank you everybody. You know, Dave, Tracy, you guys have really helped out with the electric situation and keeping my lights on tremendously. And so I'm very, very grateful to you for helping out. And so yeah, so I think for me it was like kind of like a combination of things that happened, and people don't realize like how much it takes to kind of keep going when there's like this algorithm that you're kind of like working against, or that's working against you. That's how it felt for me. And I think I fell kind of into this hole a little bit, where I felt, you know, very depressed, that like, you know, no matter what I was good, no matter what, you know, I did or how much work that I put in, it wasn't being really respected, or it wasn't being heard, or wasn't even being seen. And that my viewers really weren't hearing me in the sense that I needed help. You know, I felt like until I took it down, really nobody heard that I needed donations. Nobody really heard that I needed help. And I had posted it like everywhere. And again, it's nobody's fault really. It's just that the algorithms make it so that you're just not heard. You're just not seen. Like people don't really understand. And I think like for me, I had decided like I didn't want to, and I'm still at this place where I didn't want to record on YouTube unless I felt like there was a reciprocation, or unless I felt like that people cared. And I think I was hoping that people would say something encouraging. But the thing that actually kind of scares me a little bit is that no one really has said anything encouraging, with the exception of Dave, Tracy, and two people in Australia, regarding my channel. And so that leads me to kind of like where I'm at with things. I have taken like a little bit of a social media break. I have made my Instagram private. But I am going today to do like a little recording over there. I haven't decided how I want to move forward with YouTube. What it would take for me to move forward with YouTube is going to be some words of encouragement. It's going to be donations. It's going to be people wanting me to come back and record. It's going to be people, you know, booking more readings. It's going to be kind of like, you know, in some way, like this time for me taking this time, I needed like, I guess kind of like a little break to feel, I don't know, inspired, you know, to find my inspiration. And I go through these periods in my life where I feel really inspired. I feel like it's go, go, go. I'm going to do all these things and I'm going to report all this stuff. And I think that, I don't know, like I feel like this last cycle or this last season was incredibly challenging for me to stay motivated without the inspiration, to stay motivated without the support. So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at with things. I had wanted, I think, to take a little bit of a break from YouTube and see if people really wanted me to come back at all. And I haven't really heard from anybody. So you know, that to me says that essentially maybe it's time for me to leave it as is and do other things and go in other directions. And I don't know what the other directions are quite yet, but I always am a person about doing things that I feel called to do, regardless of whatever the situation is. So like if I feel called to go outside, I go outside, you know? If I feel called to go plant, I go plant. If I feel called to record, like today I felt called to record. It was a beautiful sunny day. I'm recording today in this beautiful window of my apartment, And I feel lucky to be just alive, and I feel lucky to have food. Which brings me to being kind of coming full circle to where I was, just before last Thanksgiving. I did not know what I was going to do for food. I didn't know what I was going to do for anything. And I managed to get through an entire year, which has surprised me, because I didn't think that people were going to care or that people cared. And I'm very grateful to have people have supported me this far. But I think going forward, I kind of need to figure out like what my next steps are. I definitely want to check the chat and make sure nobody's in the chat. So, yeah, so I just wanted to come on here and kind of talk a little bit about where I've been and what I've been doing. And, since, making my channels more private, I have applied to other jobs. I got another rejection yesterday saying that they had gone with another candidate. It's very interesting right now. There's been reports about the economy improving and things like that, but essentially you cannot really believe that. You just can't believe that, because if you were applying to jobs at this time, you'd find that you could become totally qualified for the position, but there's just too many candidates who are applying, thousands and thousands of candidates who are applying. So what's the answer? Eventually you have to find a job, and eventually you have to get, your foot in the door somewhere. So for me, the answer is to keep trying. But I wanted to let everybody know, the perception is, I think, for a lot of people, it's like, well, if you don't have food, go to the food bank. If you don't have money, ask your family. If you don't have a job, just apply to jobs. You'll find one. And so I think there's this kind of interesting perspective that happens, this kind of distancing, or like this kind of not feeling like it's their problem, or not really wanting to hear about it kind of energy. And I find that very fascinating, at this time, especially because it's almost as if, and I'm just going to say this, the pandemic didn't happen, right? And in some way, it's a very interesting conversation at this time, because the pandemic is still affecting many different areas of our economy, of our life. And I think that, people, it's the same thing as if, like, with employers are thinking they can still just, with inflation being so high, that they can just still keep everyone at $15 an hour and everybody will be fine. And that's not going to work. It's not going to cut it. And I don't know if anybody's been to food banks, but the food there is really not that great. And it's just very low quality stuff. And I'm not saying that that's not a solution, but it's, again, this perspective of, it's not my problem, quote unquote. It's not my problem, so why should anybody care? And I think that's what pushed me. That energy is what pushed me to shut down my channel. That energy of, it's not my problem. I don't feel obligated to help. I don't care about you. Why are you complaining about this? Why can't you just find a job? Why don't you just go get the vax? Why don't you just do blah, blah, blah? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's this perception, that an attitude or energy that I did not like. And it frustrated me. It honestly frustrated me a lot, to the point where I was like, okay, if nothing's changing, if nobody wants to help, if my lights are going to get shut off, why should I continue to record? I'm not going to be able to record if my lights are shut off. Like, that's what in my mind. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do it, because I have to record I record in my apartment where it's quiet. I can't record at the library. If I try to record outside, it's very loud. So, um, I don't know. Like, I'm interested to see what people have to say about this energy, this perceived energy that, like, almost like nothing's changed, even though for 2 years we've been in pandemic hell, you know? Nothing's changed. Like, everything's back to quote unquote normal. Um, Employers are going to have to come up on their wages, or else people are going to starve. And there's not going to be any food in the food banks. And even if it's crap food, there's not going to be any. And it's going to be a serious issue, I think, at some point. And it's interesting that I'm in the same boat with a lot of people, which I never thought that I would be. I have always worked really hard. I've always had a job. I've always applied to jobs if I didn't have a job for like a month or two. Um, if you saw my resume going back to me being 15 years old, I've been working since I was 15 years old. Um, it's one of those things where, again, I felt people's judgment, and I felt people's lack of respect for my decisions. And I felt a lack of respect in this channel. And I felt a lack of respect for the work that I've done. And I think the last time I shut my channel down was when somebody had said that basically I wasn't producing enough. And I got upset because there I was. I had produced 11 at that time. It was like 1,100 videos, and I got really upset about that. It's just, again, more of like energy shifts, and I have to be stronger, I think, to kind of want to keep going and kind of keep recording. I have to grow like a thicker skin. People would say, that I really need to suck it up and be tougher, but I'm an empath, I'm a light worker, and my energy is sensitive to energy shifts like that. To people not being respectful, to people assuming things, and like, why don't I have XYZ? Why am I in this situation? It's assuming things, and it's judgment a little bit too. And I can understand from other people's perspectives, like, why should it matter if my lights get cut off? But it's a big deal for me as a person. So again, I want to shout out to Dave, who helped me out, and Tracy, who helped me out. And I feel very grateful, for that help. I just want to say thank you. So, yeah, that's the other thing too, is I am incredibly grateful for everything that I have. Even if I don't have that much, I'm incredibly grateful. I still have one chair and a bed. That's my furniture. There's a table over there, but that's for healing work. So it's one of those things that I think I came to a point where, again, it was an energy shift that I didn't like. And yeah, I don't really know where I want to go from here. I know that I want to do private readings. I know that I'm probably going to record a little bit on Instagram. And if you'd like to see me come back to YouTube, please let me know. I'd love to hear in the comments if that's something that you wanting me to do. I will need to hear from people as far as what they'd like to see, what they'd like to see more of. I'm open to input for my channel. I actually thought about switching gears completely and not doing readings and doing more like vlog stuff. I don't want to go too far into politics, but I thought, well, maybe I should just do more like vlogs and things that I feel passionate about. I did like a whole series on Instagram, like a bunch of posts, which were really about sacred things that like inspired me. So I thought that maybe that would be something that I could do. Here on YouTube. Please let me know, in the comments what you think. I think this is all for now. I'm going to end here unless I see anything in the chat. Let's see. No. So yeah, I am gonna leave up the stuff that I have right now up. I might take it down for December. I haven't decided. I may recycle some old videos because I did record all of December's already for 2015. So I may go back. I consider all of my videos timeless too. That's the other thing. So it's one of those weird, strange things where I didn't realize, like people don't realize that there are readings that I've done already for the future. Oh ho oh Ojos. I'm not sure how to say your name. Azules? Ojos Azules. Thank you for commenting. It's interesting because um for those of you who watched my channel for a long time, my dad was a dentist for almost 50 years until he passed. And every time I go to the dentist, they're always like, "You have amazing teeth," and it's because of my dad. I truly believe that good dental care, is very hard to find. And it's one of those things where the fact that you have a cracked tooth is kind of a message from my dad because, growing up, he would get calls. He'd get calls, like emergency calls that somebody had cracked their tooth and that he'd have to go in and do like emergency care with them. So, yeah, so I believe that you're going to hopefully find the dental care that you need. And I wish that you continue to look to find dentists that works with you. I do believe there is good dentists out there, but sometimes they're a little bit hard to find. I would ask around, ask friends, ask family who they go to, and get a referral. That's always the best way to go with dental care. That's my opinion. That's the interesting thing too. Through this whole experience, I wanted to say this, that the people that would be generous and donate are also the people that are suffering, that are going through a lot of stuff themselves, which is totally like, it's like this period of time has been like everybody's really into their ego. And that's the message here, I think, too. Like when you're into your ego, you do not understand how it feels to have a cracked tooth until you crack your tooth. Like when I had an injury, um, nobody could understand how I was on the couch for 3.5 months. And up until I had my injury, I had no understanding of what it was like to be put in a boot again and again for re-injuries and da 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 da, and have to sit on the couch for 3.5 months. I mean, I just did not get that. And until you go through something, you don't understand, you don't have compassion. So it's like the people that have the most compassion at this time are people that have been through stuff. And a lot of times it's people that have been through stuff or that are suffering themselves that wish that they could help, but they can't. So that's the interesting thing, is that like I'm in this interesting position right now where I wish that I could help so many people. Like there's like thousands of people on Twitter, that I go on like every day. I check, they follow Bill Pulte on there, who helps to donate to people. He chooses somebody every day and he donates something, dollars to them every day. And I wish that I could just go through and like, just send stuff to their Cash App. You know what I mean? I wish that I could do that, but I'm one of those people that can't do that. And I think like it's a lesson. It's a lesson for people to, when they do have something that they can help, that they actually do it. But it's a lesson too to see that the people that don't help, when they can help, um, it's to me, it's like an ego thing. It's an ego lesson. So the people, I always say there's two lessons regarding money. When you don't have money, you are learning the lesson of what real abundance is. And when you do have money, you are learning the lesson of what's most important. Because when you do have money, it doesn't matter how much you have. Usually at that time, a lot of stuff happens where you cannot buy, your deceased dog back. You cannot buy, the heart that you had, the love that you had, that's now been broken because of a divorce back. You cannot do that. So it's like things in life become most clear when you have money, because you realize that there's certain things that are invaluable. And then when you don't have money, the lesson about abundance is having abundance is not necessarily the amount of things that you have. It is really about valuing everything that you do have and being grateful for what you do have, as if it was to be multiplied. And of course, abundance is self-worth. Abundance is self-love. Abundance is, having a sense of what's most important. Let me see my chat again. Yeah. I'll host Azules. Yeah. My dad absolutely, anything to do with teeth, my dad is absolutely there. I know he's around in spirit. And anything to do with dentistry. Right. I think it's hard. I think it's hard for at this time to watch other people struggle. It's really hard. It's hard for me to watch other people. It's hard for me to hear about other people and how they're trying to feed their kids and stuff like that. It's really, really challenging. So, I don't know. I guess I just want to say that I think that some people at this time might see it as blame. And another message that was like I wanted to come through too was that people perceive like criticism as blame. Like me talking about how people might not be giving a blah 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 as like me blaming them for not helping more. And really, it's a lesson for them to learn. It's not like me saying, I blame you, XYZ, because people take a responsibility for their own life. And people do need to take responsibility for their own life. But I think that pointing something out isn't always a criticism. It's just pointing something out. It's like stating the obvious. It's making a statement. It's saying, there are people that are in their ego right now. And those people that are in their ego probably will not hear this message. But maybe there are some people that will. So, we can hope for that. I think this is a great place to end. I appreciate everybody watching. Yeah, suffering and feeling like nobody cared. Okay, I want to end. I'll talk about that before I go. Yes, that's the energy that I felt this time around. It felt like with my electric bill, things had gotten to a point where I felt like I had asked for help and no one really cared. That's what it felt like. Now, is that the truth? Do people care? Yes, they do care. They care about me. Many people I've watched for years. They think of me as, a friend, or they think of me for some as like extra family member, or they think of me as someone that they like or that they want the best for. But, is it how I felt? I felt like nobody cared. Yeah. And that's exactly the energy that pushed me to just basically shut down my channel. And also, it's a great lesson for me too, because I thought about what does it mean to care about others? How do people show that they care, And do I need to grow a little bit of a thicker skin? I do, And do I need to take things less personally? I do, And do people genuinely care? I think that there are some people that do. Whether they donate or not, they genuinely do care. But I think that sometimes, it's the practical help that's necessary, At this time, with inflation being the way it is, it's practical help, practically helping somebody else with $5, $10, $15, $20. It's maybe it's one bill, maybe it's two bills. It's those one or two bills that's going to buy them enough time to get to a better point in their life, a better point in their perspective, a better point in their ability to keep going and stay motivated and keep plugging away at whatever it is that they need to plug away at. I think too, for me, I want to say this too. The energy was, I felt like not just like a gerbil on a wheel. I felt like I was plugging away. I was chipping away at stuff. I was like absolutely working really hard. And I felt like it just didn't matter, even though I was working really hard. And that's why I was like, well, the light has to happen. The light has to come through. People need to hear what I'm saying in order for this to work. And if people are not hearing what I'm saying, then maybe it's just time to not to do this, you know? So I think that that's part of it too. It's just, I don't know, interesting times, interesting energy, interesting things that we're dealing with. Yeah, so I think I'm going to leave off there. Thank you guys for listening and watching and being amazing fans and followers as always. Very grateful to everybody who's been kind to me and caring to me and supportive. So thank you so much. I wish you guys all the best. I send everyone big hugs, kisses. I'll talk to you guys again soon. All right, take care. Bye.